Today's lesson is the once-in-a-generation talent of Timothée Chalamet. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
Hello, I'm Kiki.
And today we're going to be talking about a celebrity. If you're a movie fan and if you go see movies, perhaps you've seen this famous actor on TV, or at least in the movie theater. Those movies are probably shown on TV later. But this is the actor by the name of Timothée Chalamet. Are you a big fan of his?
I am actually not, but I know that he's really famous amongst young ladies.
Right, they find him very attractive.
Yes.
And also we're going to find out today, and in our next program after today, that he is actually quite talented. He isn't just another pretty face. I'm kind of impressed by him because I think one of his parents is actually French and the other one is American, so he's actually bilingual in French and in English. And as we're going to find out, he probably knows some Italian and probably knows some Spanish and Japanese. Who knows? He's a very talented guy. So let's find out more about him. Let's get to it. Let's listen to the first part, and we'll be right back.
The once-in-a-generation talent of Timothée Chalamet. Have you ever felt awkward just being yourself? If you're shy, you might know the feeling. But guess what? Even famous movie stars like Timothée Chalamet sometimes feel that way. Fortunately for Chalamet, though, he excels at being people other than himself, and his ease at getting into character is likely what makes him such a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood.
大家好，第一部分我们来看片语 reckon with somebody 或是 reckon with something， 指的是需要处理或是解决。例如 Ellen will have to reckon with the people that she had to fire from their jobs. Ellen 必须处理那些她得开除的人。或是 Harrison stayed up late to reckon with the assignment that he needs to turn in today. Harrison 熬夜解决今天必须缴交的作业。
We're talking about the once-in-a-generation talent of this famous actor. Once in a generation means this is the only person of this generation that has this talent. That's kind of exaggerating a little bit, but he is quite talented. We do use this phrase in a lot of situations with, say, the word lifetime. Once in a lifetime. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to go to Spain. You'll never have this chance again in your life, and you'll regret it if you don't go. But here we're talking about the once-in-a-generation talent of Timothée Chalamet. Okay, let's begin by looking at the first paragraph here. It says, have you ever felt awkward just being yourself? If you feel awkward, you just feel kind of strange. You're not really sure of yourself. You might feel awkward in social situations. If you go to a party and you don't know anybody, yeah, you're going to feel awkward. You're going to feel kind of unusual and uneasy about yourself.
Right. You're going to feel not very confident and sometimes shy. Okay, so we continue with, if you're shy, you might know the feeling. So if you are a shy person or if you're introverted, you might know what it feels like to be awkward. But guess what? Even famous movie stars like Timothée Chalamet sometimes feel that way. So even though Timothée Chalamet is on screen all the time and people see him all the time, he himself can sometimes feel awkward and shy.
Yeah, they said the same thing about Robert De Niro and Johnny Carson. Supposedly, when they're in front of the camera, they don't look shy at all. But when they're in private with other people, they're very shy. And I guess the same is true with Timothée Chalamet. And yes, indeed, sometimes actors like Timothée Chalamet feel that way because they're kind of shy after all. Fortunately for Chalamet, though, he excels at being people other than himself, and his ease at getting into character is likely what makes him such a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood. So even though he is shy, he is very good at acting. He can be people other than himself. He can be people besides himself. That's what you have to do when you're an actor. You have to pretend to be someone who you're not, and you have to convince people that you are believable. And if you excel at something, well, you are excellent at something. You are really, really good at that thing.
Right. So he's really good at being other people other than himself. Okay, so that makes him a really good actor. And his ease at getting into character, which means it's easy for him to get into these movie characters or these different characters from books or shows. And that is what makes him such a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood. So when you're something to be reckoned with, it means that people have to face your competition or challenge or something to sometimes be afraid of because they're so good at something. Okay, so a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood makes him a really good actor in Hollywood.
Absolutely. So you need to take him seriously. He's not just another pretty face. He's actually very talented. And of course, he has attracted the attention of lots of famous directors and producers, as we're going to find out as our lesson continues. So let's move on now to the second part. We'll listen to it first.
Chalamet got his first acting roles as a child, but it wasn't until he starred in 2017's Call Me By Your Name that he started to attract widespread attention. Astonishingly, he was so dedicated to perfecting his performance that he took the initiative to learn Italian, as well as both the piano and guitar. His hard work paid off, and at just 22, he became the third youngest person to ever be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor.
第二部分我们看到形容词 widespread， 它的意思是普遍的或是广泛的。例如 When he ran for class president, Dennis was pleased to find widespread support among his classmates. 在 Dennis 竞选班长时，他很高兴地发现自己得到同学们的普遍支持。再看一个例子 The government's plan to raise taxes was met with widespread criticism. 政府的增税计划遭到了广泛批评。接下来介绍副词 astonishingly， 这个字的意思是令人惊讶的或是惊人的。例如 The man jumped from the astonishingly high cliff as we watched from the shore. 当我们在岸边观看时，那名男子从高的惊人的悬崖上跳了下来。或是 The film has done astonishingly well, earning more money than any other movie this year. 这部电影的票房成绩好到不可思议，比今年任何其他电影都赚得更多。再来是 initiative， 它是名词，指的是主动性、主动权或是积极的行动、倡议。例如 Some bosses like it when an employee takes some initiative. 有些老板喜欢员工做事主动。或是 The politician has proposed an initiative to improve education. 该政治家提出了一项改善教育的倡议。接下来是动词 nominate， 指的是提名、推荐或是任命。例如 Pearl nominated her fellow worker Jessica for the Employee of the Month Award. Pearl 提名她的同事 Jessica 为本月最佳员工。再举一个例子 The panel of judges nominated 12 finalists for the film competition. 评审团在影片竞赛中提名了12位决赛入围者。
Okay, let's talk about Timothée Chalamet and how he really got famous. Chalamet got his first acting roles as a child. So he was a child actor or he was a young actor. He started before he became an adult. But it wasn't until he starred in 2017's Call Me By Your Name that he started to attract widespread attention. So he started acting when he was young. He started acting as a child, but he was able to get a starring role, which is the main role or one of the main roles in a movie called Call Me By Your Name. And that attracted widespread attention. So when something is widespread, it means that something or someone and their popularity or their information has been spread around the world or has been spread widely or has been spread to large groups of people. So for example, COVID-19 was widespread throughout the world. Okay, so that's what happens when something is spread out in a big area in a short amount of time.
Exactly. I could say, for example, that there is widespread support for the death penalty in Taiwan. Most people think it's the best way to deal with murderers and people like that is to kill them, to execute them. But in this particular case, he has attracted widespread attention because of his role in the movie in 2017, Call Me By Your Name. And of course, lots of people saw him in that movie, including lots of directors and producers and other people. So they thought, hey, this guy's pretty cool. He's pretty handsome. He's very talented. We can make him a big star. So he attracted widespread attention. Now, astonishingly, he was so dedicated to perfecting his performance that he took the initiative to learn Italian as well as both the piano and guitar. So, of course, he was going to play a role in this movie, I guess, as a person who spoke Italian and as a person who could play the piano and the guitar. And, of course, if you're making a movie, you can kind of fake that. Of course, you don't really have to know how to play the piano or the guitar, but it's probably best that you do have some knowledge of such things. And so he took the initiative here. He did this himself. He was proactive. He didn't have to do this, but he decided to do it because he was dedicated to his performance. So he learned Italiano, and he also learned the piano and the guitar. Here we're saying that he was dedicated to his performance, which means he's committed to it. He takes it seriously. And if something's astonishing, it's amazing, it's very surprising. And if we add the ly here, it becomes an adverb. He is astonishingly good at speaking Japanese, for example.
So from this information, we can tell that Timothée Chalamet, he's a very serious actor. He takes his work very seriously, and his hard work paid off. And at just 22, he became the third youngest person to ever be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor. So his performance in Call Me By Your Name was so good because he took that extra step. He took the initiative to learn Italian, learn piano, and learn guitar so that he can really bring his character alive, so that he can convince everybody that he really is this character. So his hard work paid off. All this work really showed, and that's why he was able to be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor. And we know that this award is really special at the Oscars. So to be nominated for it is also a really great opportunity because it gets more people to notice how great of an actor he is. So what does it mean to be nominated? So when you're nominated for something, it's when your name is brought up and put into a pool of other names of other talents that are going after for, let's say, an award or for some type of campaign. So, for example, you can be nominated to be a presidential candidate.
Exactly. So that means someone has suggested you as a possible winner. We have nominations for the Oscars every year. About 5 or 6 people are nominated for an award, and only one of them gets the award. And he was nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars in this particular year when this movie came out. So his hard work paid off, which means he got results from working hard. We often hear this from our teachers or from our parents. Hey, hard work pays off. You know, if you work hard, you will be rewarded. For me, yeah, sometimes it does pay off, sometimes it doesn't. Like I spent many, many years trying to learn how to play soccer, but I was never good at it. I finally gave up because all my hard work did not pay off. I just did not have the talent, but I had fun trying. But here his hard work paid off, and he got that nomination at the tender age of 22. Okay, we're at the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Let's move on now to the third part.
Not long after, Chalamet starred in director Greta Gerwig's first solo film, Lady Bird, alongside Saoirse Ronan. The experience resulted in a close friendship among the three that led them to work together again on 2019's Little Women. With several critically acclaimed films under his belt, Chalamet began landing major parts in Hollywood blockbusters, such as the lead role in 2021's Dune.
第3部分介绍介系词 alongside， 指的是与点点点一起或是在点点点旁边。举例来说 Ruby worked alongside her mother in the cornfield during harvest season. 在采收的季节 Ruby 会和她妈妈一起在玉米田里工作。或是 You'll work alongside a senior staff member until you become familiar with the job. 直到你熟悉工作，你会与一名资深员工一起作业。最后来看到 under one's belt， 这个片语表示拥有、获得或是掌握成就或是经验等。举例来说 This talented singer has had several awards under her belt since she was young. 这个才华横溢的歌手从年轻时就已经获得了多个奖项。最后一个例子 After his retirement, William has become a coach with much experience under his belt. 在 William 退休后，他成为了一名经验丰富的教练。
All right, let's find out what other films Timothée Chalamet has been in. Not long after, Chalamet starred in director Greta Gerwig's first solo film, Lady Bird, alongside Saoirse Ronan. So Greta Gerwig, she is a wonderful actor, and she also transitioned to some directing. But we can see here, Lady Bird is her first solo film. So what does it mean to be solo? Solo is when you are doing something on your own for the first time, or when you are doing a performance by yourself. Okay, so in this case, the word solo, it can mean that she is directing for the first time by herself. Now, a solo could be a solo performance, or even when you're performing in a group of people, you can have a solo by a violinist or any instrument. So it's when somebody is doing something on their own.
Exactly. So if you're a fan of jazz, you know that a jazz song usually starts off with all the musicians playing together to establish the theme, and then it's followed by the various solos from the players. You have the sax solo, the bass solo, the trumpet solo, the piano solo, etc., etc. But here it's her first solo film, the first film that she directed all by herself, and it was entitled Lady Bird. And if you say something is alongside, well, you're working together. He acted alongside her, although she was the director and he was the actor. He starred in this movie, and he starred, of course, alongside Saoirse Ronan, so they were both in this movie. I remember seeing this movie. It was a nice film. It was quite cute, quite entertaining. And I think she also directed Barbie, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. Okay, the experience resulted in a close friendship among the three that led them to work together again on 2019's Little Women, which I really enjoyed watching. So they grew this friendship on the set of Lady Bird, and they realized that they work well together. So they decided that in 2019 they were going to do another movie together, which was Little Women. And it really showed the talents of all three of these people. And they were able to grow a close friendship from the first movie.
Exactly. So they work well together, and maybe they're going to come out with more movies in the future with them working together. And with several critically acclaimed films under his belt, Chalamet began landing major parts in Hollywood blockbusters, such as the lead role in 2021's Dune. If you say that something's critically acclaimed, that means the critics, or people who analyze films and tell us whether they're good or not, they really liked it. They said, hey, it was a good job. So he's got all these critically acclaimed films under his belt. If something's under your belt, well, you have that experience and you can tell people that you have done this before.
All right. So because he did movies like Lady Bird, Little Women, and Call Me By Your Name, he did a really good job. He had these great response from the critics. He was able to start landing major roles in Hollywood blockbusters. So what is a blockbuster, Roger?
Well, a blockbuster is a large budget movie that they spend a lot of money on, and it's very popular, and usually they're very exciting. There's a lot of action in them. Like, of course, the James Bond movies are blockbusters. They're always really popular. And, of course, lots of blockbusters come from Hollywood, I suppose they come from Bollywood as well. And, well, we have this blockbuster entitled Dune, which came out a couple of years ago. That was a pretty famous movie, and I believe he did quite well in that movie. Did you see this movie, Kiki?
No, not yet. But I know that a lot of fans of the book series, they were very excited to see this movie come out. So I'm quite curious to find out what they thought of the movie.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. It's time now to listen to our Chinese teacher, Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分第一句提到，提摩西·夏勒梅第一次演戏时还是个孩子，但直到2017年主演《以你的名字呼唤我》才开始引起广泛关注。文中是用到 It wasn't until he starred in 2017's Call Me By Your Name that he started to... 来表达说直到2017年主演《以你的名字呼唤我》他才开始怎么样。那像这样的句子呢，是用分列句来强调 Not until he starred in 2017's Call Me By Your Name。 好，那我们这边就来简单复习一下分列句和 not until 的用法咯。首先呢 It is... that 或者是 it was that 像这样的句型是分列句句型，可以用来强调句中的某部分。那么用法是把你原本句子要强调的部分摆在 it is 和 that 之间，或是 it was 和 that 之间，然后呢把原本句子剩下的字词摆到 that 之后，所以就是 it is 或 it was 加强调的部分加 that，再加你原本句子的其他部分。好，那第二个复习就是 not until， 它表示直到才怎么样，后面可以接表示时间点的名词或者是子句。现在我们就来结合这两部分咯，我们要把 not until 名词或子句用来当做分列句要强调部分，所以句型就是 It is 或是 it was 加上你要强调的 not until 名词或子句，加上 that， 再加句子其他部分，去强调说直到某个时间点才怎么样。那我们课文里面它就是用分列句来强调 not until 加子句，我们也来造一个是强调 not until 加名词的例句。举例来说 She didn't learn the truth until yesterday。 那现在把句子里面 not until yesterday 拿出来当做分列句强调的部分，就会变成 It was 加上 not until yesterday加 that， 再加句子其他部分 She did learn the truth。 可是这时候你会发现助动词 did 已经没有存在的必要了，所以我们把 did 删掉，把 learn 改成过去式，句子就会写作 It wasn't until yesterday that she learned the truth， 直到昨天她才得知真相。好，那同样在课文第二部分有一个句子写到 His hard work paid off， 他的努力获得了回报。那 pay off 在这边是不及物用法，表示得到好的成果，取得成功，用来表达所做的事情有了回报，终于获得了成功。我们也顺便补充一下 pay off 做及物用的时候则有清偿偿还的意思，可以用 pay something off 或者是 pay off something 表示。举例来说 It took them 30 years to pay off their mortgage，他们花了30年把房贷还清。那注意，如果 pay off 的受词是人 pay somebody off 或者是 pay off somebody 则可以表达收买某人的意思哦。好，那以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Widespread. Anger at the government's inaction was widespread. Astonishingly. Jason did astonishingly well on the exam, considering his lack of preparation. Dedicate. Audrey is extremely dedicated to her goal of running a marathon. Initiative. Ted recently took the initiative to organize a charity event to raise funds for the local animal shelter. Nominate. Mrs. Ellis was just nominated for a leadership award, thanks to her many contributions to the community. Solo. The popular singer released her first solo record just a few weeks after leaving the famous pop group. Alongside. Gordon worked all night alongside his colleagues in order to complete the project in time.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoy reading along with us. I am Kiki.
I am Roger.
See you next time.